Hello and welcome to chapter 56 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind. Including this chapter, five more to go. So we're, we're done with two-thirds of the way, one-third to go. And first of all, my drink today is Blue Tropical. It's a carbonated drink, a bunch of tropical fruits, and it's blue. And for some fucking reason, they wrote the information in black, and the drink is like dark blue, so you can't read anything. Soft drink with guarana and forest fruit flavor, apple juice, and a lot of other stuff. I think that's a pomegranate. It's weird. It says apple juice, but there is no apple on the packaging. I've been duped. It's it's not my favorite. I do have more favored drinks in the house, but I'm gonna do this. Mm. Yeah, it's not very good. It's not good at all. Like, oh my god, that's so much worse than I remember. Don't buy that. Um, Shame on you, Behnush, which is the company that makes that. Anyways, this one I'm going to name the real possibility of returning to the world that was, which is a really good title if you ask me. And that's the only reason I'm gonna choose it because, to be honest, the week that passed was kind of a melancholy one. Not a lot of stuff happened except one thing, and that is that my university classes have started. For those of you who don't know, and this is your first episode, first of all, welcome. You can, as you can see, I have a huge back catalog, so check it out. See if any of the names catch your fancy. And oh, don't forget to send me a message on Anchor, and I will play your message at the beginning of the next episode. With that out of the way, for those of you who don't know, I fairly recently in 2021, not fairly recent, like around 7 months ago, I finally received my bachelor's degree. I haven't received it yet. I don't have the paper, but I finished my bachelor's degree, and as far as the government and the educational system is concerned, I now have a bachelor's degree in cinema. I majored in cinema directing, in particular, and yeah, that's over. Uh, During the summer, I did concours, which is sort of like an SAT stuff that you need to do between each degree, and got accepted into Art University of Tehran again. In my major is cinema, and for masters, uh, and my classes have started. Like they started literally yesterday, and the day before. I record this on Wednesday. First of all, I'm recording this at 7 a.m., so it's kind of unusual. I usually record this at like 1 a.m., but yeah, it's 7 a.m. now, and I record this on Friday and publish it on Friday. My first class was on Wednesday and then Thursday, and it was a mixed bag. Some of my new professors were actually really kind. One of them was a huge asshole, and yeah. So why is it something I need to talk about? Because by starting this, it sort of got me into a mood of maybe things are slowly returning to normalcy. Now the classes are online. We're using Adobe Connect, which is a very shitty program, to be honest. And so I haven't left the house to go to a university class, but the fact that needed to wake up at like 7, and to be honest, I woke up at like 1 a.m. and I just stayed awake. But waking up at 7 and sitting behind the monitor and starting a class sort of has given me like things maybe going back to normal. And honestly, I'm a very anxious person. Uh, I mean, that's like the theme of the last thoughts of a busy mind, especially this season. I think I've mentioned it quite a lot. I'm a very anxious person. And so it gave me anxiety to some degree that things may be going back to normal. Because, okay, don't get me wrong, COVID times, the quarantine and all of that has been really bad, like incredibly bad. We've lost family members, a few family members to COVID. I had the fear of getting the disease, and the quarantine and lockdown have forced me into my world even more than I was already. I mean, I'm not a very sociable person, but I would like the option of going out of the house, and being forced to stay inside was really maddening for me after a while. And I have the constant fear of some of my dearest friends might get COVID. Some of them have gotten COVID, and it was incredibly scary. My parents, my mom, actually got COVID fairly early, and that fairly early, and that was incredibly anxiety inducing. And so it was, uh, it's not a good time. But maybe it's me, it's my brain sort of following a habit. I've gotten accustomed to this, to the way that the world is working now. Classes are online, which is a very good thing. The world is more online based. I get to stay home more and work on a lot of projects that would have otherwise remained unrealized. And it's it's sort of like, again, the new normal. This is the world for me at this point. The idea that the world is slowly returning to normal for me is a bit of a anxiety inducing experience again, because don't think I'm ready to going back to university classes, like going in person to a university class, or doing a lot of bureaucracy in person again, or just needing to go out. Now, I know this is probably incredibly stupid. I don't blame you if you think I am completely stupid for it. I might be. Who knows? But I don't think I'm completely alone. I know a lot of people suffer the same issues as I do: anxiety. I have a condition, GAD, generalized anxiety disorder, and OCD, obsessive compulsive. So I'm a very anxious person, and I know a lot of people will probably feel the same as the world slowly goes back to a pre-COVID world. Now that will never probably happen 100%, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because now we realize a lot of old paperwork, bureaucracy stuff is something that could have been done online, and sort of the pandemic forced people's hand into digitalizing a lot of those painful procedures, and that's actually a really good thing, in my opinion. We finally get to yeah, don't go to all of these places and wait for like hours for someone to stamp our paperwork when we can do it online and have him, yeah, do it whenever you're ready. Just fucking do it. And um it sort of forced me to do a lot of projects that otherwise might have never done. The Born in Quarantine series, the TGTBTI series, which, as I'm recording this, in like a couple of hours, I'm gonna start recording the newest episode of, which is about Sweeney Todd. This is a little teaser for you. Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd. And what I was saying. Oh yeah, and it gave me the last thoughts of a busy mind. And yes, and some friends that would have otherwise not came back to my life because of me sticking into an online world. I managed to reconnect with a lot of them. So there have been good stuff, but I know my brain is mostly anxious because I don't want to go back to the world that right now seems very far away. I know it's been 2 years. Um, Statistically, I spent 22 years in a pre-COVID world and 2 years in the post-COVID world. But the the way human brain works, I can't really remember life before COVID. You know, so it's giving me anxiety to imagine what would that be. How do you go back to that world? What is the right thing to do there? So yeah, that's the main feeling that has been plaguing me for a couple of days. Amongst other things, the usual anxiety stuff and the usual self-deprecating stuff, lack of confidence, all of that shit. But the big one that I've been thinking for a while now is the anxiety of going back to normal, the possibility of things going back to the way they were. Was that the title? I should have written it down. Speaking of writing stuff down, I might. I don't know what would be the use of it, but after the season 4 is finished, I'm gonna gather a database of all the stuff that I've talked about. Like, I'm gonna go back to the early episodes, which I don't really like, even though one of them is one of my more infamous or famous episodes, the relocation depression. So I'm gonna go back, listen to them, and compile all the stuff that I've talked about, and more importantly, and that was the original idea, the drinks that I've had. I want to see what are the drinks that I've had and the variety of them, because sometimes I mention them. Like a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned I think I've had water, but I want to be able to tell which episode exactly I've had that. I'm gonna compile it all into a Google Docs, and I don't know. Again, I don't know what would be the use of it. I can't really publish it anywhere. Nobody's going to have any use for it. But I think for me, at least, it would be good. I like organizing stuff. One of the best moments of my life a couple of weeks ago was I bought two new binders, which I know is a like nerd OCD cliche, but I bought two new binders and I organized all of my educational documents, like for my elementary school, middle school, high school, and my bachelor's era in university. I compiled all of them and organized them by year and just put them in that binder. And yeah, it was a really fun experience. This is how I deal with my anxiety because one of the fears I have, and again, it's relevant to the fear I talked about, the anxiety that I talked about, is that things are out of my control. And a lot of things are, to be honest. So by finding control in a lot of little stuff, organizing them, making them look pretty, all of that, I'm sort of asserting my dominance. Like, yeah, I'm in charge of this, and yeah, that's as far as I have. Like, yeah, I'm in charge of this completely useless thing. It's I know it's not a very healthy outlook, but it's at the moment until I go into therapy and all of that shit. It's something that gives me warmth and calmness to be able to, yeah, I can take control of my surrounding, even though I can take control of my my life, because it's spiraling out of control and it's completely out of my hand. Oh my god, sorry, I forgot not to breathe into the mic. And oh, by the way, I signed up for a mock IELTS, and it's probably gonna happen when the show is over, but we'll talk about that. And also, I'm kind of glad about this. The last year I did musical March in November. There's actually an episode with that title, which I urge you to go and listen to. And this year I'm doing Western August in November, and so I'm kind of looking forward to that ending, and then again compiling all of the notes I've wrote for that into a document and doing an episode called Western August in November, which would be 3 episodes from now, like December 3rd. So yeah, there is that, and that's kind of cool. But uh, yeah, this was a very anxious week. It was melancholy in a lot of other ways, but overall, I've been very anxious. And there were good times. I went out again with my friends and had a lot of good talks with a possible cinematographer for my movie, my short movie. But the fact that I might things are trying to go back to normal, and all that I remember is the life where I'm confined in my room because of a disease is yeah, it's the life that I live. I'm not saying I don't want things to go back to normal. Don't let me say it like that, because that would be incredibly selfish and incredibly mean of me to look at a disease that have taken so many lives and say, yeah, I want things to go back to the way they were, and more people were dying. No, I don't want that. Well, when I got vaccinated, it was such a relief for me. So I don't want to go back to the peak of the COVID times. But as we're moving out of it, I do have a lot of anxiety about it. And again, this is the last thoughts of a busy mind. I want to express that anxiety and see if it resonates with anyone else living out there. It might not. You might not like it. You might say that it's completely silly, or I'm blowing it out of proportion, or I'm a drama queen, which is a sentence I'm beginning to hate more and more. And you don't have to know why. And you might be right, but it's a feeling that I have, and I want to express it. Things are going to a world that I don't remember, so of course I'm gonna be anxious. Of course I don't know how to traverse the world that does that. So yeah, I have like 2 more minutes that I need to fill. This is an OCD thing. I don't know why I need to talk for like this much time, but I sort of need to. And let's just talk about what I talked about last year around the same time. I talked about nothing. Yeah, my season finale for season 1 was on October 16th, and Dave Allen at Large came out 27th of November. So, goddamn. Well, I didn't talk about anything. Yeah. Anyways, how much time do I need to feel? Oh my god, an hour, a minute. At this point, again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that shit. And go and check out all of my other stuff. I might do a personal website. The bug has been bugging me for a lot of time, and it would be where I would put everything that I've done in like one place. But we'll see. We'll have to see. Anyways, don't forget to send me a message on Anchor. I'm asking you again. You can send me a voice message. I like to talk with people and know if you've listened to my stuff and what you think of it. There's usually a link in the description if you're listening to this on YouTube. And if in any other place, you probably have a link to the Anchor. And the sad thing is, you need to have an Anchor account. But send me a message if you can, and you do have an Anchor account. Send me a message on Anchor, and I will play it at the beginning of the next episode, and you have a very real chance of shaping like a whole narrative and a whole episode. And yeah, I'll see you all next week, and we'll see if my anxiety has gotten worse or if I'm doing a little bit better.